Well, hello there, my friends. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy, thriving, and doing whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are, whatever it is you're up to. Just hope you're having a great time. Hope you're enjoying your life, making the best of every moment that you're taking a breath, that you're drawing breath. This is New Thought Media Network. Almost forgot where I was. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig, and this is the Vibrant Living Show with me. Yeah, we're hey Wayne, a loyal watcher here. Looks like quite the hair day I got going. Let's start the whole show with a little sip of my hemp infused coffee, my CBD infused coffee. 5 milligrams of CBD in every cup, along with chaga mushrooms for your health. And that stuff truly is, it's delicious coffee. So let's get going here with, we'll start with our beloved friend, Dr. Ernest Holmes. Pardon me while I get my reading light hooked up here. And I just opened the book and here we go. I know that I am living in a universal law and order, in a universe of pure spirit, of divine intelligence. I know that I am surrounded by and immersed in the mind of God. The mind of God is flowing through me. I live, move, and have my being in pure spirit. The mind of God is right where I am. It is ever available and always operating. And so it is. So that's, that's kind of an ongoing theme that I have had for a very long time, about never losing sight of God. And that's kind of what that was all about, that we have to be aware that God is everywhere all the time. Never not present. So you have to bear with me for 1 second here, because just something crazy just happened and I just need a second here. Let's have a couple of young fellas that come and mow my yard, and he's just letting me know that he's on his way. They come after school to mow the yard, which is very cool. So I see you folks are out there. When I know you're out there, I always say the same thing. Please feel free to make a comment, ask a question, contribute to the conversation, whatever it is, or whatever you feel like, whatever works for you. But we're gonna go back to something that we started to do a long time ago that I haven't done in a while. Just kind of life has not been in a position where I could really kind of pull this off just at this time in my life. But starting in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start bringing on a regular guest every week. Somebody different, somebody new, somebody who's living their best life. That's what the show is all about, living your best life. And I really mean living your best life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And so I've got some people lined up, some kind of amazing people that I've just stumbled on in social media that have great programs going. Around physical health, around sobriety, around nutrition, around the everyday habits, the everyday lifestyles that we embrace, that we get through this existence with, and to see what we can do to improve it, to up level the conversation, if you will, to just make it a better show, a more engaging show, a more just more engaging is a good word. So I have a little story for you. So first thing I want to do here is raise the whole studio up. There we go. Much better. Sometimes you think you get it all set up and then you come on the show and it's not all set up. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is physical healing. I want to talk about who's in control. I'm an absolute believer that no doctor ever healed anyone. That there are certainly doctors facilitate healing, and doctors can provide ingredients towards healing, but healing is all comes from within. I mean, when you cut yourself, when you get a scratch, your body heals itself. Your body is a healing machine. It needs to have the right ingredients. That's what nutrition is all about. It needs to have the right focus. That's what your mindset is about. That's what meditation is about. It's all about self-care, really, in a great many different ways. And I have been going through an issue, and it's a very vulnerable issue. It's an issue that has to do with an older man and something that happens to older men, and it's oh God, it's really funny. I'm trying to beat around the bush here. And in the meantime, everybody's out there going, and yeah, let's see what kind of stuff affects older men. Well, there's this and there's that and there's the other thing and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is older men sometimes, because of things, something that's known as BPH, which is benign prostate hyperplasia, which is just basically an enlarging of the prostate gland that happens as men grow older. It tends to enlarge. And sometimes that can lead to some issues with your urinary tract. You might find yourself urinating way more often than you want to, get you up in the middle of the night, blah, blah, blah. It's something that I have dealt with actually most of my life, because I've always joked, I'm one of these guys that had a bladder the size of a squirrel. So I always kind of felt that I went to the bathroom more often than anybody else did, or had to pee at least more often than anybody else did. If we went on a road trip somewhere, you're pulling over more often for Kenny to go than for anybody else. But that's neither here nor there. It has recently gotten crazy. It got nuts. And it was way more often than seemed even possible, if that's, if I can make that point. I've always prided myself on not taking medications. I take a lot of supplements, take a lot of nutritional drinks, those kinds of things. And I have one medication I've been taking for many years that is for acid reflux. My acid reflux is a product of liking a lot of foods, liking coffee, liking chocolate, liking things that just sometimes create reflux. And some of those things I just haven't been able to give up. I mean, I've given up so many things in my life. So many things being cigarettes, cigars, and alcohol, which I gave up 35 years ago. I'm not giving up chocolate, and I'm not giving up coffee. So if I got a little reflux, I'm taking a prescription for it. Now, with this thing with my urinary tract, what happened was I wound up with a couple more medications. Actually, I had one that I was taking for a while, and then I just recently got another one to facilitate another aspect of it. And supposedly these two drugs working together are beneficial as far as the result I'm looking to obtain. And there was a fourth medication. The fourth medication is a very heavy-duty NSAID. NSAID is NSAID, which stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. And I got this for the inflammatory effects of, again, growing older, arthritis in my knees and in my spine. And it worked really well. I really liked it. It did the job. But I just read up on it the other day that basically it has a really, really strong propensity to create frequent urination. So I decided, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this inflammation some other way. So I stopped taking that drug 3 days ago. And I started focusing my attention back towards, it's interesting how we forget how easy it is to forget. You do your meditation in the morning, you do your prayer work. I just kind of dawned on me, my prayer work has been kind of very general. It's not too terribly specific. It's definitely not in a formal form of a spiritual mind treatment, if you will. That, the are you ready to receive thing, right? The recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release of a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. And so I've leaned into that, and I've leaned into it very heavily around my physical health, but also including all the people for whom I pray every day around their mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. I do also include them in that prayer work. So I've leaned into more of a spiritual mind treatment format for my prayer work in my meditations in the morning. Then I remembered something else. Many years ago, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and the endocrinologist at the time, he was like this close to retirement. He was a very old man, and he said, your thyroid gland is dead. It will never work again, and you'll be on Synthroid, artificial or synthetic thyroid hormone, for the rest of your life. It's like, I walked out of his office and I wasn't even to my car yet. And this was 1992. I was like, and I said out loud in the parking lot, bullshit. I am not buying into the fact that parts of my body are dead and never working again, which was the beginning of my journey. I was now at that point 4 years sober. It was the beginning of my journey into self-healing, natural medicine, alternative endeavors, alternative practices. I started investigating reflexology. I visited an acupuncturist. I started reading very heavily and buying books around nutrition and what I could do to support the thyroid gland. Long story longer, okay, the bottom line is today, this is 41 years later, my thyroid gland operates, it's 31 years later, my thyroid gland operates at the low end of normal, but it operates at it's still in the normal range. And I have not taken any medication now in over 20 years, 25 years for my thyroid. I was taking Synthroid. And then I was taking something else because that's another part of the story, but we won't go into. But one of the things that I discovered with the thyroid gland was reflexology. And I started using reflexology to help heal my thyroid gland. And I don't remember exactly where it was, but there's a spot on the bottom of your foot that kind of regulates the thyroid gland, and I would massage that every single night. So I went and found my reflexology book around my latest problem. So here's what's going on. And then of course, I went one step further. I went to my beloved Lisa's book collection and got her copy of Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. And in here, Louise has every kind of different diseases, different organs, different things that we might suffer from. And there are causes and affirmations around all of that. So I have basically, over the course of the last 3 days, I have embraced reflexology. I have embraced this Louise Hay book. I have quit the one medication that conceivably could have been causing frequent urination. And I have leaned more heavily into my prayer work. Here's what's had the result has been. In 2 days, 3 days time, I have cut the frequency that was beyond my comprehension about in half. That's what it looks like today. Still more often than I would like to go, but just a dramatic improvement. And it just told me that what I am doing is never, ever, ever just taking the Western medicine approach of here, take this, here, take that, here, take the other thing. I'm not doing the medication route 100%, looking for the Western medicine magic bullet. I am really always questioning everything, exploring every avenue, looking for the other things that I might do in order to facilitate my own healing, my own health, and being more in control of it, maintaining my power over my body, knowing without a question or a doubt in my mind that in the metaphysical sense that there is no place where God is not. God is in every cell of my being. God is in every cell, every space between the cells of my being. And I absolutely am connected to that source. That's right. The second step of spiritual mind treatment. I am unified with that source. I am an individuation of that one overarching creative intelligence of the universe, or God. And as such, I am a volitional, a choosing thought center in that overarching creative intelligence. And that my thinking, my thought, my intention, my goals, my affirmations, those are the creative forces of my life, and they can contribute to creating my health, which is what I'm endeavoring to do as I'm talking to you. The other thing I did, of course, was, and this is, a shameless plug. I increased my dosage of my amazing HempWorks CBD, which, of course, HempWorks is a sponsor of this show. If you don't know that, you do now, and you can, that doesn't work anymore. I need to change that. When am I going to get around to changing that? That's kind of silly, but you can go to this other spot here, mydailychoice.com/Ken Ludwig. That will take you to the company. My Daily Choice is the umbrella company where HempWorks is located, and HempWorks is the CBD and hemp infused product company. It's where you can find the CBD. It's where you can find the amazing hemp infused CBD infused coffee that I drink every week on the show, or most weeks on the show. As well, and if you want to delve a little further, you can go to you can find our mantra essential oils. We have the blends. This is Breathe. This is a blend of different essential oils. I should know exactly which ones, and I just don't have the eyes to read it. But it is this. I've used this many times. My nose was stopped up. If I had anything like a cold, or if I had any seasonal allergy stuff, Breathe works. A couple of drops under my nose, a couple of drops on my wrist. Perfect. One of my all-time favorites, lavender. Man, lavender is just a pure scent for relaxation. A little bit of that under your nose before you go to bed, and on your wrists, and maybe even a little bit on your temples will absolutely facilitate sleep. Lavender has centuries of documentation around its ability to facilitate relaxation. It's really kind of funny. I can see that the screen is getting a little darker. I'm not sure what to do about that. The sun is, we got a little cloudy day going. I have the a natural light behind us here. And I don't know, the sun is kind of blocked, going in behind the clouds. That's a little too much. So there you go. How's that? Hope that's better. So yeah, upping the intake of the CBD primarily. I showed you all the other products there from our from our product line. Those things have all contributed to me feeling that I am taking control of my health, that I am absolutely knowing I am in charge of this. This is not something that is going on outside of me. It's not something that is affecting me from another place. I don't need to be taking medications for everything. I can absolutely work to heal myself with alternatives to the Western medicine model. So that's all I wanted to tell you about that, and I just, when I did my commercial there, which was very cool, I want to start. I want to do this. I want to do it I hope I can do this in a mostly non-political way. Although, if you're watching the New Thought Media Network, I'm going to guess that you're mostly on the same side of the political aisle as I am. I am a screaming progressive. Used to be, I've been all over the scale as during the course of my life. But at this point in time, I just can't even imagine not embracing the love, the compassion, and the caring and the healing feeling of liberal mindset, of the progressive mindset versus the other, if you will. And I shouldn't talk in terms of the other, but I'm gonna. What I want to speak about in a political / non-political sense is, I've talked about this a couple of times. I want to continue to talk about it. Marianne Williamson is expressing some extraordinary ideas around the possibilities of our government, the possibilities for our government, what we can and cannot do. And I truly believe, hi, Tracy, it's so good to see you joining me on the show. What a thrill. If you want to make a comment, if you can, I would love to hear from you. If you have a question or anything, I'm thrilled to have you aboard. Anyway, Marianne is expressing some things around the promise of democracy, the promise of the richest country in the world, the promise of the freest country in the world, and how we are absolutely light years away from fulfilling that promise on both sides of the aisle. Again, I think, I'm a firm believer. You can draw from this whatever you want to draw from it. I absolutely believe that there is one of two political parties that we have primarily in this country. One of those two parties is doing things for us. The other party is doing things to us. But no matter which one of those you're looking at, the truth of the matter is they're both way too heavily influenced by the corporatocracy. One side is also way too influenced by what is becoming a theocracy. But the corporatocracy is really killing us, because everything seems to, in one way, shape, or form, be answering to the whim of the corporations of the United States that control this country. 30 years ago, George Carlin was talking about the owners of this country. He always said that, we have politicians, he said, are there to give us the illusion that we have a choice. We don't have any choices. We are owned. We are owned lock, stock, and barrel by the corporations of this country. And as much as he seemed prescient at the time, it is absolutely the reality that we're living right now. And if you pay some attention to Marianne Williamson, you're you're not going to have an opportunity to vote for her. And I have no doubts about that. She's running as a Democrat. The Democratic Party is not going to allow anyone to challenge the incumbent president. That's just the way the system works. And trust me when I tell you, Joe Biden is the single most accomplished president, at least of the 21st century, and maybe well beyond that. But he has accomplished more things, done more things for the American people than any of his predecessors in the entirety of the 2000s. And if you don't believe me, just go look it up. I don't need to prove that to anybody. But anyway, I love Joe Biden. I love what he stands for. And there is a question about his age, of course. But you know what? Warren Buffett is older than he is. Excuse me. Warren Buffett is still the Oracle of Omaha, the most respected investor in the entire country. Still, there's other people. There's lots of examples of people who are older than Joe Biden and doing amazing jobs. And Joe Biden is, I think, still doing an amazing job. But be that as it may, there will be no challenges to him because that's the way the system works. The Democratic Party is not going to allow anyone to challenge Joe Biden for the presidency or for the nomination for the Democratic nomination for presidency. It's a little jumbled there. I apologize. But Marianne is speaking about things that are the promise, the potential promise of this country, about taking care of everyone. We have the potential. We have the ability to care for every single person in this country at every level. There should be no poverty. There should be no wants medically for anybody at any level, for any time, and for anything. There should be no housing crisis. There should be no housing problem. There should always be a roof over everybody's head, and we can do that. We've come into a time. This has been going on throughout history. Almost every civilization that has collapsed went through this in some way, shape, or form. The rich got richer. The poor got poorer, and the middle class got devastated and disappeared. This all started, not to be political again, but there's a starting point for this. It really, truly started with Ronald Reagan. So this is not new. This is 40 years old, at least, but it's been going on for a century, where the middle class has become devastated. Middle class is groping for an ability to support themselves and take care of their families. And in the meantime, the poor people become more and more and more of them, and the rich become more and more of them, and richer and richer and richer. But the difference is people become poor in way vaster numbers than people become rich. I'm kind of babbling at this point around all of this, but the reason I'm saying is because I want you to just take my word for this. Visit Marianne Williamson's site. Visit what Marianne Williamson is saying. When you see her in your Facebook stream and she's talking to an interviewer, stop and listen to her. If she doesn't make sense to you, send me an email at whatever my email address is, vibrantagingnow@gmail.com. Send me Team Rocket now@gmail.com. Send me an email and tell me I'm full of crap. But the truth of the matter is she's talking about things that we know, all of us know we can do, and that are the things that we should be doing to support the people of this country. That's it. I don't want to go too crazy with that. It drives me a little bit nuts that we are in the dilemmas that we're in. I talked about this before. And I don't want to be too redundant because I think it might have even been last week. But my mother got her last paycheck just shortly before she got married. Then she raised 9 children. She got no paychecks after that. My father, when I left New York at just before age 25, my father was making about $120,000 a year. We lived in a very upper middle class neighborhood near the water on Long Island, in a very unique 7-bedroom house with pretty much no wants of anything. We actually at different points had boats in the marina. I apologize if you can hear that vibrational noise in the background. That is the guys mowing my yard, and they've reached that part of the house where we can hear them. But anyway, we never wanted for anything. My parents took great care of us. My mother, again, never worked a day and never worked a job a day in her life after getting married. My father made more money at some point after I left home. I think he made more than that 120 grand a year, but that 120 grand a year is what he made when I left. He sent his children who wanted to go to college. There were always 2 cars in the driveway and a third car that most of us used. I had a really good habit of wrecking those for my dad. He wasn't real fond of that, but it's kind of what I did. And that was life in the 60s and 70s. That's just the way it worked. Now, there's no such thing. If you are raising 3 kids and you're making 120 grand a year, you probably have a spouse who's also working, making at least another 40 or 50 or 60 grand a year to support your family and to send kids to college. Oh my God. To have 2 cars in the driveway and to have a home. You know, my father bought, when my father bought our house on Long Island, it was $33,900. It was a 5-bedroom house. He added 2 bedrooms later to the tune of $3,500. But it was a $34,000 house. And after he added 2 rooms, it was a $37,500 house. Excuse me. That house today is the only house in the whole neighborhood that hasn't been totally rebuilt. My youngest sister lives in that house. It is worth just short of $1 million. You can't buy that house on $120,000 a year. That doesn't happen now. You can't buy that house on $200,000 a year. You have to be making more money than that. And the taxes in that neighborhood are like some ridiculous amount, like 12, 15 grand a year are the taxes, which is like 10 times what my taxes are here in North Carolina. All by way of just demonstrating that the middle class has been devastated, eviscerated. And I'll just repeat, go visit Marianne Williamson's site and see what she's talking about as far as what she would represent running for president of the United States. And again, you were never going to get to vote for her because she'll never get on the ballot. But what she is talking about, what she stands for, is things that all of us should be aware of and should almost demand of our politicians and of our government. That's all I got for you today. That's it for me. Remember, I gave you I gave you all my stuff. I gave you my commercial earlier. Remember, though, that New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization. We live and breathe by virtue of your donations to us. Please go to newthoughtmedia.org and click on donate. We'll be thrilled to have anything that you would be going to give us. We'll be thrilled to death. It's done. ntmedia.org, New Thought Media, ntmedia.org. Click on donate and help support this network. If you like what I do, if you like what the other shows are about, if you like where we're going with this network, with just kind of delivering to you positive, upbeat, vital information for life. That's what Vibrant Living is all about, this show. Please support us in any way you feel comfortable doing. If you want to send me an email, it's teamrockitnow@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at evolving_hippie. And I haven't done anything on Instagram in I don't know how long. I don't know why I keep telling you to go there. One more time, you can find any and all of the sponsors of this show, HempWorks and the other brands. You can find them at mydailychoice.com/Ken Ludwig. As always, I feel immensely blessed by the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. And until next Thursday and every Thursday thereafter, when I hope you will join me, I wish you all namaste.